American. You're not. Hey, hey, America. What's up? What's up? What's up, America? Yeah, I know I'm a nut job. What do you want? Huh? What do you want? Right. There we go. You got that talky head thing going on. Okay. Corruption and politicians in America seem to go hand in hand. That has been a cliche since as long as I can remember. And if you read about it in history books and stuff, they've been talking about corruption since Pontius Pilate in Jesus' day, right? I'm just saying that politicians and corruption, it's this accumulation of power, access to power, and wealth. It's very rare. It's very hard to say most people would not find themselves being susceptible to it. So, when I hear stories about, well, we gotta impeach Biden because of Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden's gotta, we gotta impeach the president because of his son. We gotta look into the Biden crime family because. Is there some shit going on there we don't know about? What has he been? 30, 50 years? 50 years? 50 years in politics? Got a really nice, fancy house he's living in? Yeah, he's got a little bit of a bankroll. Yeah, you can't be in politics and not have a bankroll. Sure ain't making it from that $170,000 the government paying you, because we know there's lots and lots of legal ways for these folks to tap in and make a buck, or 50, or a million, right? And then some that are not so legitimate, and some that are downright shady and ought to get you fired. Ought to get you fired and get you fired up. Because you ain't fired up, how you gonna know? How you gonna know if you ain't fired up, my friends? Because you gotta know that is it a necessary evil? Fuck, it's not. The thing that kills me is, okay, we all are subject occasionally in our lives to the opportunity to make money or get some kind of perk or benefit for doing something that's a little less than honest. Most people resist the urge and move forward. Quite a few people are human beings, and they fall in. And then some people just embrace it full on, because that's what they kind of expected. When I should have had a video of that Santos clown, because that Santos, he is the poster child for this problem in this country. And his whole reason for running for office and getting elected in the first place was nothing to do about being a good civic-minded individual who wants to do his part to help his fellow citizens, blah, blah, blah. He saw it for what it was. That guy was a two-bit panhandler, freaking wannabe scam artist that's finally got all of his roosters come home to roost, just like Mr. Trump, former president of the United States, is probably likely to get shit on too, because he has it coming. The man earned it. So does frickin' Santos. But the point is that there's prime examples of why the system is fucked up and how badly it is and how much it has grown. I mean, at a certain point, our system fails. Any government system, history once again is full of failed countries and failed government systems, in part because corruption rots the core. And once the corruption sets in, once the rot sets in, once in a while, sometimes the only way to fix the problem is to tear the whole thing down and try to rebuild it from a new foundation. That's a real danger when you have people going on about, oh, we're going to have a revolution. Oh, we're going to have a civil war. That's a real danger, because there's so many people that are desperate now, that are fed up, and more importantly, they've lost hope. They have no hope that these people we keep electing will do a damn thing for them. And they keep getting spoon-fed, bottle-fed. They keep getting somebody at a horse trough dumping buckets of bullshit down their damn throat. And they buy it in hook, line, and sinker because they gave up a long time ago. And their whole life has been people taking advantage of them, or petty little inconveniences, or the fact that our dollar every year stretches a little less and a little less and a little less. So you know what? You don't get paid any more than what you make, and yet everything keeps fucking going up. The math's not hard, America. It's not hard to see it. And as for you handful of really corporate greedy fucks, you're fucking your own self over. You are shooting yourself in the foot. You're going to kill the cow. Enjoy your steaks while they last, because then once that cow's dead, you ain't getting no more milk or steak. You're going to be eating rat meat with the rest of us. It's just the realities of the world there, my friends. So when we talk about blatant, outright corruption, all right, this feller here comes to mind right away. He's a senator, Senator Mendez. I believe he's a Democrat. Don't matter what your political leanings are. Greedy is greedy. The color of his party is green. Yeah. So, he, because his family has a history of people taking their money way back in the day, nothing he personally has ever witnessed or experienced. It's just stories from his grandparents, from the granddads and stuff. Once again, we are a product of our environment. If we are surrounded by people who believe consistently that they've gotten fucked over and screwed and taken advantage of and left behind and left out, that carries over to the next generation and then the next generation, because it develops into a theme. It doesn't matter if your family's got money or not. That is a consistent theme and a hard fact in the world today. There's a reason why so many people in America have turned to the it's us against them philosophy, or that they're never going to fix something for me, so why should anybody else? Why shouldn't everybody else suffer? I got to suffer. So, when they did their investigation into Senator Mendez, well, first off, he's got a prior. Dude, Mr. Senator, I'm excuse me for being a stupid redneck farm boy from Iowa who don't supposedly understand any of this crap, because, we're stupid. We stupid compared to all you smart boys up there making your millions, and we stupid idiots and fools. Just ask Trump. Anyway. So, stashing your loot in your jacket is a dead giveaway. You're trying to hide your loot. Now, your argument being is somebody in the past might have taken money, and this is for like fallback emergency shit, so nobody... Yeah, no, this is your personal stash. Dude, I don't give a shit who you are, how wealthy you are, how poor you are. You understand the concept of a stash. I have a stash. I don't trust the bank either. I put money in the bank because it's going to be almost immediately utilized in something else. I've learned the hard way, when we talk about how some things work, that I can't afford to leave $500 sitting in my savings. I would love to do that. I would dearly love to do that, because that would earn me what? A quarter? A nickel in a year? Oh boy, yeah, I'm going to get some tiny little interest out of it if I can leave it there long enough. That ain't going to matter. Compared to the banking fees, interest isn't going to matter jack, because I'm going to pay more for banking and banking fees than what my interest would generate on a $500 a month savings. If I had $500, I would love to have a job where I could save $500 a month. But Jesus, that'd be a job where I can put almost a paycheck every month into a bank, because everything else I have is paid. All my needs are met, and I have a little bit of spending money in my pocket, and I now have surplus enough to save. That is where we should be. That is where America should be. You should have enough of a surplus every month after all your basics are met, and you have a little bit of money for fun, to be able to save money too. This would change the dynamic of everybody considerably if we could do that. If we were collectively willing to have that happen, but that's not going to happen. That being said, I have a stash, because it doesn't take much. All it takes is one of these. You gotta have an automatic deduction. So my insurance company decides they get a brain fart, or somebody hacks their computer, and this has happened. And suddenly you get your bank account gets slammed with a $15,000 bill because it should have been a $150 bill, but somebody had a glitch. And it takes months for them to sort that problem out. Meanwhile, they've just hijacked your entire checking account. Whatever was in there is gone because they get it. Whatever's there. So my $500 would be gone, and I would be this huge gaping negative. Or the bank would be shutting me down, saying, well, you got a problem here. And so when you live on a paycheck by paycheck, when having that access to that $200 that you've managed to squirrel away, you need to be able to access it and be confident it's not going to disappear. So my father, Marine Corps veteran, worked for Firestone, Bridgestone Firestone for 30 damn years. Always had a stash. Always had a stash. Yeah, he had some money in the bank. He saved a little bit of money. Back then, he was able to actually save money. He was actually put money away. He was a single. He was a working father. My sister and I and my mother, and he managed to work most of his entire life without mom needing to work a job. They did not require a two-person income to meet the basic survival. In the 1970s and into the 80s, it was possible for a single family to support themselves off of a single person's income if you had a decent job in a blue-collar town. So my dad. But he still put money away. So when he got his tax refund, it went into his stash. When he loaned money to somebody and he paid it back, he went into his stash. So if you had to borrow money from dad, generally he was pulling money out of his stash to loan you, so it wasn't affecting him directly in his immediate needs. So I learned to do this too. A little bit here, a little bit there. If you can squirrel away $20 a week, it adds up. The key is put that $20 aside every week and leave it the fuck alone. Decide what constitutes an emergency. Sometimes you're better off leaving the stash alone and just waiting till your next check to take care of whatever came up. If there's an emergency that can be dealt with. So right now, the battery on my van started clicking the other day. Now this battery is 4 years old. Brand new, 4 years old ago. So it's potentially due to be replaced. And it's fall, so we got winter coming. Now, I can put it on the battery charger right here at the house, and I can put one on it at the shop. So it's when I go someplace else. The wife and I go to grocery shopping. I don't want to be walking out of the grocery store when it's 15 degrees outside and start hearing that clicking sound. I'm 57. I'm too old for this shit. I don't want to be running around the parking lot hoping and praying I find some generous person that will pull up and let me jumpstart my van because I'm a broke fuck who can't afford to buy a decent battery. So what I got to do? Start putting a little money aside to buy that damn battery because I know it's coming and I want to get it before that happens. So for example, I mow the strip club next door. I mow that guy's property, and there's at least one more mowing, maybe two left this year. And so I managed to put $200 back, which is last year this time I had about $600 in stash. This year I've got two. I'm telling you, this year, money's gotten worse. It just doesn't go as far, and I got concrete evidence in my mind how that plays out. So having a fellow like Mr. Mendez stashing stuff in his jacket and having gold bullion and stuck away, I get that. I truly get that. And he's of a generation where his parents lived through and their experiences were peppered by World War I, World War II, and the Depression. Especially that Depression. My dad was a kid during the Depression. And a young teenager during World War II. That's how I ended up serving in Korea in the 1950s. So the point I'm getting at though is that he would have been 40. I think it was 19 and 49, right? So Dad grew up in the Depression, and it was heavily affected by the experiences of his parents having to deal with a lot of that problems of never having enough money to go around and not have enough money to feed your family and to keep a roof over your head. Becomes a crisis problem, and people go to desperate measures. So the fact that he may be this guy wants to have a stash. Not a problem. Yes, it does look a little shady. He's a politician. That's doubly so. If he's just a normal nut job like the rest of us, they wouldn't think twice about it. But because he's a politician, immediately you start thinking, why? Why is he stashing shit? You know, what's his actual value worth? I haven't Googled that. I don't know what his family values money wise, but it sounds like they got a little bit of money. He's not a billionaire by any means, but he's not one of the poorest of the Congress in the Congress either. So the more important though is the connections to him doing some business with Egypt and money coming from Egypt in a sloppy manner, no less. It's almost amateur hour there. Senator Mendez, they fucked you over, dude. These people set this guy up to fail because he's a dumbass. The fact that he's a dumbass, because if you're being a politician, you'd think he'd be a little more savvy when it comes to being set up to make things, because perception's everything. The very fact that they got this guy with a bunch of stuff stashed and some kind of connection with Egypt means right off the bat they're going to rake him over the coals, and probably should. And then the fact he's had it a prior, I think it was an impeached or whatever the hell it was, but it was related to graft, bribery, and things like this, and he managed to retain his seat. Once again, the politicians, regardless of which side of the aisle they sit on, are not going to police themselves. They're going to do everything they can to keep the status quo the way they got it now, because they don't want to give up any quirks and perks and advantages that they have. Isn't that right, former Speaker Pelosi? Didn't you an opportunity to put a kibosh on insider trading from Congress? Having the advantage of insider trading when people in Wall Street not able to. It's illegal for those guys to do it. And it's okay for Congress to do it. It's like that gerrymandering thing I was going on about not that long ago. Isn't that convenient that we have some pretty crooked shit set up in our country from the very get-go, and nobody wants to deal with it? Oh, they all want to yammer about it, and they all want to point fingers at each other about it, and they all want to, each other about it, but at the end of the day, we can't really do anything to fix that. Why would we fix that? What would be the advantage of that? This leads us to the next problem. Why did Rome fall? Why did many countries fall? Why did many governments fail? Because of corruption, because of bribery, because of chicanery, because of because of too many people doing some really shitty crap too long and not getting counted and held on account for. So if Senator Mendez took bribes and payments of any form that looked like they should not have been taken in the manner that they were, and he's guilty of this, he needs to go to prison. He needs to be held accountable to the full extent of the law. And the very fact that these people who are politicians, they should be held to the literal full extent of the letter of the law. Period. They should, this double tier, triple tier, this multi-tiered system that's blatantly obvious for anybody that's willing to open their damn eyes and look at it, can see it. And I don't fuck if it's a damn Democrat, dude. You're a crook and you need to go to fucking prison. And you're a stupid crook. That's the real sad part. You are a stupid crook. Not even good at it. It's like some of these drama queen attention whores that are that's Bogart and the MAGA movement in freaking Congress these days. They're so ignorant, it's blatantly shameful. You ought to be put down just for being so stupid. How the f you got elected in the first place? Oh my God! It just goes to show you the base that elects them, the people that elect them, and then they don't sit up and go, oh shit. This guy's a crook. I elected a crook. He's stealing. He's taking. What did he get for that? Quid pro quo. Here's the stupid part, Mr. Mendez, Senator Mendez, sir. Should have wrote a book. You could have hired some ass clown to ghostwrite you a book on writing a book. You could have a book writing on the concept of writing a book. How about just having a book on the idea that I wanted to write a book even though I don't know how? I'm just going to write a literal book about nothing. And then your benefactors can then purchase 1 million of them, or 500,000 at 18 bucks. On a going rate for a hardback these days is $30, so $28. You want your cut to be you want your cut to be $10 of it for every book that's sold. Well, all then they have to do then is to say, we love that material so great that we decided to buy 1 million copies at $10 a book. The $10 of course being the amount that goes to the senator, and it's a book deal, and somebody bought the books. Perfectly legal. Is it illegal? Is it illegal for the Egyptian government to buy books from that's being published for a senator in America? Not one lick. Because that's a common thing that they use. Once I learned into that, once I dialed into that, I started paying a bit more attention just for the weirdness. I just wanted to kind of catch it and play. So apparently, if you go onto the bestsellers list on the New York Times bestseller list and whatever other ones there are, in their particular case, they track whether your sales are based on the individual sales or by bulk sale. So obviously, if 95% of your sales for your novel is coming from bulk sales, 3 outfits bought 97% of your production run, then it doesn't qualify it as a bestseller. That's not selling to the mass market. You're selling to some third-party market, and that's what happens. That's where most of them. So where does most of the legal bribes and kickbacks come into play in Congress? And look, I'm not an expert in any of this stuff. I'm just Joe Q dumbass out here who's at least opened my mind enough to look at what the hell these people are doing and go, how is it that guy gets away with that crap and I don't? Why is it my stash has $200 in it and this fuck ass has got $200,000 in his damn stash and gold plate and some gold damn bars to boot? Okay, he's got more money than me. He's also got a shitload more connections than me, and he's on the damn take in some fucking way. The question now is why did he get the money? Not how. They know where it came from. They know the how, but why? What did the people that gave him that money get in return for it? So legally, book sales is a common way. Speaker tours. Now you'll see a lot of politicians will do this when they step away from office, when they get voted out of office for the next tour, and then they go out on a book tour, and they sell a book, and they go out on a speaking tour, and they go to these big corporate events where they go up and they go to a corporate dinner and they get paid $20,000 for just showing up and being there because it's who they are, and the people, it's a prestige thing. So the people at the corporate getaway can sit there and say, oh well, we've got a Supreme Court justice coming by. Yeah. Oh, we're going to take care of we're going to pay for his flight out. We're going to pay for a posh hotel. We're going to get him some hookers. Oh, wait, we're not going to do that. We're going to buy we're going to buy 20,000 copies of this book. Anyway, otherwise they pay you $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 for a speaking tour. And in some cases, you don't even have to show up and do it. They contracted, they set it up so you to come in and speak, and then whatever, you got paid, and if you don't show up, well, it's, no big deal. So, book deals for cover for bribery, speaking tours. A lot of politicians get offered cushy, high-paying jobs on corporate boards, of executive boards, that have absolutely no meaning whatsoever other than this graft. We're going to put you on the board of directors for Bell and Howell, and we're going to pay you $200,000 a year for being on the board, and you don't actually have to do anything. You don't even have to show up. Hell, we'd like you to show up because it makes it look like we have a board, but we don't expect you to do jack, because it's just we want the prestige of having a paid politician on our payroll, or at our table. And then then there's the donation shit, right? That's a whole video unto itself, and I'll eventually get around to it, because that's something that I struggle with a lot. I mean, every election cycle we spend collectively, the collective we, meaning everybody, spends more money every year, and increasingly more money every year, to get people elected to office. Win or lose, we spend that money. And most of that money goes and turns around and goes into the pockets of the corporate media and corporate entities, of which many of these corporate entities are heavy investors in the political scene. So they're getting a quid pro quo. Another avenue of payout is the pork barrel spending, or the personal appointments. Each individual person in Congress, senator, and representative all have an opportunity to get earmarks for their area, for their. Ideally, what they're doing is try to help out some. So there's a couple of projects. We needed a bridge that desperately needs to be replaced. There's a civic center over here that really, for underprivileged whatever, and it could use a new roof. And so as you're the elected official of your constituents, you would then have an earmark to get the money from the federal government to fix the roof of that civic center, and or to fix that bridge, and or both, and or this, that, or the other thing. So the company who's going to do the bridge work donates $10,000 to your reelection campaign. From which that reelection campaign, I'm not exactly 100% sure on any of how that works, but it seems that you're able to tap that reelection fund for a lot of stuff. So it sure seemed like Trump has been using a whole lot of that reelection fund money to pay for lawyers, or at least to promise to pay lawyers, because he sure is really good about not paying a lot of the people that he's promised money to that doesn't seem to get their money, especially the damn lawyers, right? So, too much of it's too much. And when it gets to be blatant and obvious, it's past the too much point. Yeah, need to make some examples, need to hang some people out to dry, maybe slap some cuff on a few people, rein in the rest, because that's what you're going to do. You're not going to put an end to it. We're not going to end bribery and corruption in politics. You'd have to end politics to do that, and then you wouldn't. I don't know where we would be. That would be in some kind of utopian frickin' environment that's not even close to being on the. We can't even envision such a thing, let alone put one in and act it and get it to work. So in this case, you're always going to have it. The catch is to moderate it, to remind those people in charge to keep a tight rein on this crap and to dial it down. And the more I understand about what's going on with this Mendez stories, the more I question about that there isn't a bigger, deeper problem. Because his spouse, my understanding, is somebody he met through the Egyptian something or another. And what did the Egyptian authorities get out of his connections? Because sometimes, in some ways, that's the very thing that they're looking for. They're looking for potential backdoor access to government politics and government policy making. And that's one of the reasons why somebody like an Egyptian official might unofficially approach and unofficially have a conversation with an official of the United States government, who then unofficially acknowledges that he may or may not do something officially. And then becomes more inclined to do something officially when a nice chunk of money shows up in, I don't know, large packets of envelope, I guess large envelope format, or gold bars, whatever it worked. And you're going to stash them in your house. Well, obviously somebody finked on you, or somebody caught on to you, so obviously nothing was perfect. Yeah, no offense, Senator Mendez needs to go. Not only needs to go, but he needs to be prosecuted. If they can prove that he legally took that money, or that money was in any form exactly what everybody says it is and thinks it is, he needs to be held accountable for it. Yes, and we talk about a multi-tier system for justice in America. One of the ways to shut that down is to make sure everybody's on the same damn level playing field. Same treatment, same access. Period. That ain't ever going to happen. The fact is, Mendez will have more than enough money to bail himself out of jail. Most poor Americans will go to jail and spend the entire time that they're dealing with whatever the situation is. Even if they come out innocent, they still took it. They still lost. You spend any time in jail, you're likely to lose your job. You're going to have problems with your social and family issue environments, because half of them are going to think the worst, and they're not. Even if you get adjudicated and you get released, and you've still been punished. You spend 90 days in county jail that you can't get back. 90 days of your life that's been taken from you. You don't get restitution for it. If the other way around, they want restitution from your ass, but they're not going to give you restitution when they, turn out that, you weren't guilty of whatever it is they put you in jail for. So, Mendez is crooked. Hang his ass out to dry and make an example out of him. But frankly, to be honest with you, I'd like to see a bit more deeper oversight into how the economic side of how Congress operates on a personal level. Because of that very reason, the very fact that the temptations for greed is great, the temptations to take these things for very good reasons, in some cases necessary reasons, just makes it much more likely to happen. And it reminds me of that guy that when he was a kid, and the only one cousin that always wanted to play the banker when we do Monopoly. And then every now and then, when you weren't paying attention, you'd find $2,000 stashed up underneath the board or something, because that's where the power lies. Anyway, till next time. You guys have a good weekend, and I'm still working on the ending. There's some kind of sluggy delay when I hit this button.